Let's be honest. The moment a woman truly chooses a man, something inside her changes, and most men never notice it. Not because the signs aren't there, but because they're quiet, subtle, almost invisible. If you're only looking for loud signals like compliments or obvious flirting, in fact, some of the clearest signs she's already chosen, you are the ones that confuse men the most. Because when a woman has emotionally locked onto you, she doesn't always announce it. She protects it. And that's the truth most men never hear. When a woman genuinely sees a man as her man, she enters a strange emotional state. Part excitement, part fear. Excitement because she sees potential with you. Fear because now she has something to lose. And when a woman feels like she has something to lose, she becomes careful, strategic even, not manipulative, just protective of her heart. This is why the first clear sign she's already chosen you is something most men misunderstand completely. She begins watching you more than she talks to you. Notice this carefully. A woman who hasn't chosen you yet talks to many men the same way. Casual conversations, friendly energy, surface-level interest. But when she's emotionally invested in one specific man, her behavior shifts from talking to observing. She studies you not in an obvious way. It's quieter than that. She pays attention to the way you react to things, how you treat strangers, what makes you laugh, what annoys you, whether your actions match your words. Because once a woman is considering you seriously, she begins asking one silent question over and over again in her mind. Is this man safe for my heart? And safety for a woman isn't just about protection. It's about emotional consistency, predictability, the feeling that the man she's watching isn't pretending. So while you think she's being distant, she might actually be paying more attention to you than anyone else in the room. She notices things you don't realize you're revealing. Your patience when things go wrong, the way you react when someone disrespects you, whether you stay calm under pressure or crumble when challenged. These small moments build a psychological picture in her mind, a blueprint of the man you really are. And here's the strange part. The more she likes you, the quieter she may become. Because once a woman feels emotionally exposed, she doesn't rush forward. She slows down. She becomes careful with her words, careful with her energy, almost like someone holding something fragile. This is why many men accidentally push a woman away during this phase. They assume her quiet observation means she's losing interest, so they start chasing harder, talking more, trying to impress. But from her perspective, that sudden shift feels forced. What she was watching for was calm confidence, emotional stability, a man comfortable enough with himself that he doesn't need to prove anything. And when she sees that, something powerful happens. Her guard lowers. Not completely, not yet, but enough for her to start letting small pieces of herself appear around you. Little laughs she doesn't show others. Personal opinions she usually keeps quiet. Tiny glimpses of vulnerability. Most men miss these signals because they're expecting fireworks. But real emotional investment doesn't start with fireworks. It starts with attention. And if you pay close enough attention in yourself, you'll begin to notice something subtle. When she enters a room, her eyes don't scan for everyone. When a woman has truly chosen you, she begins doing something that seems small on the surface, but reveals everything about her emotional investment. She starts creating reasons to stay connected to your world, not dramatic reasons, not desperate ones, quiet reasons, natural excuses that allow her to keep a thread between you and her life. Because once a woman feels drawn to a specific man, distance becomes uncomfortable for her, not because she needs constant attention, but because emotional connection thrives on presence. So she begins finding subtle ways to remain part of your orbit. Maybe she sends you a message about something random that reminded her of you. A joke, a short video, a small question she could easily ask someone else. On the surface, it looks casual, but psychologically, it's something deeper. She's creating continuity. Women bond emotionally through shared experiences and ongoing connection. Every small interaction becomes another thread tying her world to yours, another moment reinforcing that you exist inside her daily thoughts. And here's what makes this sign powerful. She doesn't do this with men she hasn't chosen. If a woman is only mildly interested, she responds when spoken to. She participates when the moment appears, but she rarely initiates the continuation of connection. That effort is reserved for the man she sees as meaningful. So when a woman keeps reopening the door to conversation, even in the smallest ways, it reveals something important. You exist in her mind when you're not present. That's the real signal. You're no longer just a man she interacts with occasionally. You've become a mental presence, a person her thoughts naturally return to throughout the day. And when that happens, her behavior changes in another subtle way. She begins inviting you into her personal world, not all at once, slowly. Maybe she tells you about something stressful that happened during her day, or shares a memory from her childhood, or asks your opinion on something she could easily decide alone. To a man, these moments may seem ordinary, but for a woman, revealing pieces of her inner life is a quiet form of trust. Because emotional intimacy is how women measure closeness. Every story she shares, every small confession, every random detail about her day is her way of testing something. She's watching how you respond. Do you listen carefully? Do you dismiss it? Do you understand the emotion behind her words? Because when a woman begins letting you into her personal narrative, she's subconsciously imagining something larger. She's imagining what life would feel like if you were part of it permanently. And that imagination is powerful. It's also fragile. This is where many men make a critical mistake. They treat these conversations casually. They respond with short answers or distracted attention. But to her, those moments were invitations. Invitations into her emotional space. And when a man enters that space with genuine presence, something shifts inside her. She feels seen not just as a woman others admire, but as a person someone understands. And when a woman feels deeply understood by a man, her attraction doesn't just grow, it anchors. Suddenly, you're not just someone interesting, you're someone important. And importance changes everything. Because once a woman sees a man as emotionally important, she starts paying attention to something else entirely. Not just how you treat her, but how you treat your own life. When a woman has already chosen you, the way she reacts to your life begins to change in ways that most men never recognize. Because once you matter to her, your success becomes emotionally personal to her. Not in a controlling way, not in a way where she tries to take over your life, but in a quieter, more revealing way. She starts caring about the direction you're moving. She pays attention to your goals. She remembers small details you mentioned weeks ago, the project you were working on, the problem you were trying to solve, the thing you said you wanted to improve about yourself, and then at some unexpected moment, she brings it up again. Did that situation at work ever get better? How's that thing you were trying to start going? To most men, that sounds like normal conversation, but psychologically, it means something deeper. Because a woman who hasn't chosen you, yet doesn't invest mental energy remembering the details of your journey. She might enjoy your presence, laugh with you, even flirt with you, but your personal progress isn't something she emotionally attaches herself to. That kind of attention is reserved for the man she sees as meaningful in her future. When a woman begins rooting for your growth, she's no longer just observing you as the man she finds interesting. She's evaluating you as a man she could build a life beside. And this is where another subtle shift appears. She starts encouraging you in ways that feel strangely sincere. Not exaggerated praise, not empty compliments. Real encouragement. She believes in your potential before you even realize how closely she's been watching. And here's the part that surprises many men. A woman who has chosen you doesn't only admire your strengths. She also notices your weaknesses, your doubts, the moments when you're uncertain about yourself. But instead of judging those moments, she becomes curious about how you handle them. Does this man grow or does he collapse? Does he take responsibility or does he blame the world? Because emotional attraction for women isn't built only on what a man has achieved. It's built on the direction he's moving. And when she sees a man consistently moving forward, even when things are difficult, her respect for him deepens in a powerful way. Respect is the quiet engine behind long-term attraction. Without it, feelings fade. With it, feelings become stronger over time. So when she notices you making progress, even small progress, something shifts inside her. She begins to feel proud of you, not in a loud or obvious way. Often she won't even say it directly, but you'll hear it in the tone of her voice, the warmth when she asks about your life, the way she celebrates small victories that most people overlook, because in her mind, those victories matter. They're evidence of the man she believes you are becoming. And once a woman begins seeing you through that lens, she unconsciously starts imagining something else. What it would feel like to stand beside you as you grow, to support you, to be supported by you, to share a future where both of you evolve together. But before that future can exist in her mind, there is one more psychological test she always performs. It's not a game. It's a survival instinct. Because before a woman fully reveals her feelings, she needs to know something very specific about you. She needs to know how much power you give her over your emotions. And the way she tests that truth is something most men completely misunderstand. When a woman has already chosen you, she eventually does something that confuses almost every man who experiences it. She pulls back, not dramatically, not in a way that looks like rejection, but in a quiet, subtle shift that suddenly makes her feel a little less available than before. And most men panic when this happens. They assume they did something wrong. They assume she's losing interest. They assume another man has appeared. But very often, none of those things are true. What's actually happening is psychological. When a woman begins feeling deeply connected to a man, a natural fear appears inside her mind. The fear of becoming emotionally dependent on someone who could hurt her. So before she lets herself fall deeper, she watches one more thing: your emotional stability. This is where the small pullback happens. Maybe she responds a little slower than usual. Maybe she seems slightly less expressive for a few days. Maybe she stops initiating conversations as often. To a man who doesn't understand female psychology, it feels like the connection is fading. But to her, it's a test of something incredibly important. She's watching your reaction. Do you stay calm or do you suddenly become needy? Do you remain confident in yourself or do you start chasing her attention with urgency? Because the truth is this: a woman feels safest with a man whose emotional state isn't controlled by her behavior. Think about that for a moment. If every small shift in her energy causes you to panic, she subconsciously realizes something powerful. She realizes she holds too much emotional control over you. And strangely enough, that makes her trust you less, not because she dislikes you, but because emotional dependence signals instability. But when a man remains steady, when he continues living his life confidently, even during her momentary distance, something remarkable happens inside her mind. Her respect for him increases. She sees that he values her, but he doesn't lose himself because of her. And that balance is extremely attractive. It tells her that this man has his own center, his own purpose, his own life that doesn't collapse just because a woman temporarily steps back. And ironically, the calmer you remain during this phase, the faster she moves closer again. Because now her biggest fear begins to dissolve. The fear that loving you would mean losing control of her emotional safety. Once she sees that you are stable, that you don't react with desperation or insecurity, she starts letting her guard drop even further. Her warmth returns. Her effort returns, sometimes even stronger than before. But now the energy feels different, more genuine, more relaxed, more emotionally open, because she has learned something important about you. You are not a man who needs her to feel complete. You are a man who chooses her while already being whole. And to a woman looking for a real partner, that distinction means everything. But when her guard finally lowers and she becomes more comfortable with you, another sign begins to appear. This one is deeper, quieter, and far more revealing than flirting or compliments. Because at this stage, a woman begins doing something that exposes the truth about how she really sees you. She starts letting you see the parts of her that the rest of the world never gets to see when a woman has truly chosen you. The mask she shows the rest of the world slowly begins to fall away around you, and this is one of the most powerful signs a man can ever witness. Yet, many men overlook it because they're expecting romance to look dramatic, glamorous, or exciting all the time. But real emotional attachment doesn't look like constant excitement. It looks like comfort. A woman who hasn't chosen you yet shows you a polished version of herself. The version she shows the world, confident, composed, attractive, controlled. She laughs at the right moments. She keeps certain thoughts to herself. She avoids revealing anything that might make her seem imperfect. Because in the early stages, everyone wants to be seen in the best possible light. But once a woman begins to emotionally trust a man, something shifts inside her. She starts letting you see the unfiltered version of who she is. Not all at once, slowly. Maybe she shares a story about a mistake she made in the past. Maybe she talks about something that hurt her deeply. Maybe she admits an insecurity she rarely tells anyone. And these moments are incredibly revealing because vulnerability is one of the most expensive emotional currencies a woman has. She doesn't spend it casually. She spends it where she feels safe. So when she begins showing you these unguarded pieces of herself, it means she has already made a quiet decision about you. She believes you're someone who won't weaponize her honesty. She believes you're someone who won't judge her harshly when she isn't perfect. And this is where the connection between a man and a woman starts becoming something much deeper than attraction. It becomes emotional safety. Think about what that really means. A woman who feels emotionally safe with a man doesn't constantly measure her words. She doesn't rehearse every sentence before speaking. She doesn't worry that one wrong comment will make him lose respect for her. Instead, she relaxes. Her laughter becomes more natural. Her conversations become more open. Her personality becomes more playful, sometimes even a little strange in ways she would never show in public. That strange, authentic version of her, the one that jokes differently, thinks differently, sometimes even reveals her fears. That's the real person she hides from the world. And when she lets you see that version, it means she trusts you with something incredibly valuable, her authenticity. But here's the truth. Most men don't realize when a woman shows vulnerability, she is also observing how you handle it. Do you listen carefully, or do you dismiss it? Do you respect her honesty, or do you joke about it in a way that makes her regret opening up? Because in those small moments, she is silently deciding something enormous. She's deciding whether her heart is safe in your presence. If you respond with patience, understanding, and emotional maturity, her trust deepens quickly. And when that trust deepens, something remarkable happens. Her investment in you becomes real. Not casual interest, not temporary attraction, real emotional attachment. At this point, she's no longer just wondering if you're interesting. She's wondering something far more important, what it would feel like to build a life with you. And when a woman begins imagining that possibility, there's one final sign that quietly appears. A sign so subtle that most men completely miss it. But once you recognize it, you'll understand that her heart may already belong to you long before she ever says the words out loud. And when that final shift happens, her actions begin revealing something that words cannot hide. The final sign a woman has already chosen you is something she rarely says directly. She begins protecting the connection between you and her. Not loudly, not in a possessive way, but in small, quiet decisions that reveal where her loyalty is starting to form. When other men approach her, her energy feels different. The openness she once had with everyone slowly disappears. Conversations stay polite, but they never go deeper. Her attention drifts back to you even when you're not standing next to her. Because once a woman has emotionally chosen a man, the idea of entertaining others begins to feel unnecessary. Her focus narrows. Her curiosity about other options fades. And this is something many men miss completely. They assume attraction is proven through big declarations, dramatic flirting, or obvious confessions. But real emotional choice is quieter than that. It shows up in priorities, in the way she makes time for you, in the way she defends you when you're not around, in the way her eyes search for you first in a crowded room. Those are the moments that reveal the truth. So here's a question for you. Think about the woman in your life right now. Which of these signs have you already seen? Tell me honestly in the comments. And if this video opened your eyes even a little, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this truth.